Welcome to the Sports World with Patrick. Today I am here with two distinguished guests of the International Ice Hockey Federation, Kim Pedersen and Kalle Valiaho. Our two distinguished guests are both the sports and the development directors at the IIHF. Kim is a predominant leader in the world of ice hockey, serving as a key figure within the IIHF. His experience and dedication have contributed significantly to the development and to the sports and development of the sport on the global scale. Kalle is also a respected member of the IIHF, having an instrumental role in advancing the federation's initiatives with focus on the development. As the development director, Kelly's work continues to have a lasting impact on ice hockey worldwide. So, thank you for coming to the podcast today, Kim and Kelly. I do have this question for you guys. Sort of, can you guys share a little bit about the roles and responsibilities that you guys have, both as the sports director and as the development director at the IHF?
I start, Kalle.
Sure.
Sure. I think in many ways you could say sport development is really connected, but also quite important that you have both sport and development focus. So I think our division in the IHF is the sport department is maybe more focusing on sport as it is now, whereas development maybe reaches it a little bit more into the future and how is our sport going to be in the next 10, 20 years. My responsibilities is really centered around overseeing our sport operations for the vast amount of events that we run every season. We run, of course, our top championships: World Men's, World Women's, World Men's 20, which are by far the biggest three. But in addition to that, there is, I think last year we ran 42, 45 events. So there's a lot of operational overview and oversight over these things on the sports side. On the event side, we have an event department that handles that part.
Perfect. So my role as a development director is to help our 84 members to develop the sport. So there you go with the development and sport together. So that's our role. So think about how do we help our federations and how our members or national associations and how they help their members. So let's say how now I'm here in Switzerland at the moment in our office. So let's say that our job is to help the Swiss Ice Hockey Federation, and then their job is to help their members, and most likely are the clubs. So kind of like making sure that our countries have all the necessary tools, information, knowledge, how to build their programs in the country, and making sure that building from the basement, so getting the kids involved with hockey, so recruiting the boys and girls to try hockey and basically building the foundation. So that's what we are working at the moment. So different programs and think about how do we get the knowledge and how do we share the information with between.
And then, Kyle, I did also have this question: does the development team or the development side of the department does that also go into? Because I know more recently the IHF added Kenya as a new team, as a new member. Does the development part sort of help with that also?
So basically, when the country X wants to be part of the IIHF, then the first connection point is our legal department. So they provide all the necessary documentation that the country needs to submit for us to go in the process to be a member. And then, of course, there are some documents that us as a development department we oversee and we see and check those out. But most likely, it's more legal, not legal documents, but that kind of documents are legal is going through that. Do you have the recommendation, or not the recommendation, but if the NOC, local NOC has actually recognized your federation as the part who runs ice hockey and these kind of type of things. So that goes more in the legal. And now when they are part of our membership, then our job is to make sure that we have the current status of the country, let's say Kenya and Bahrain, and actually on Wednesday we have a call with Bahrain about onboarding and checking what is the latest situation over there, and then we're able to create a plan with them how do we go onwards and what is the best possible way. And again, for them to understand that not everything shouldn't be done in a day. So again, that we need to make the priorities and think about, okay, what is the most important thing to fix first or build first, and then we go onwards. So it's not not that somebody comes in IHF and plays in next spring in our World Championships program. It takes a bit more years.
And then, are there any key projects at the moment or initiatives that both of you are currently working on in your department that you can share with?
At the moment, actually, hour ago, we just send an email to our countries. We update our development funding system. So basically, we are supporting countries to do different projects, and we just launched a new version of it. So basically, every country can apply funding, and it's more targeted. So that's actually quite fresh news. Countries received the message about what was it 2:30, so 90 minutes ago. So that's quite fresh news.
And from sport department side, I mean, the big project for us this season is we're establishing our situation room or war room or whatever you want to call it, where we monitor all our events, all our games. We have staff watching each game for player safety, for officiating development, for general sports development, to collect video and see trends, etc., etc. This is a project that we started slowly last year and are building a lot more on this year. So that's really the big project within the sport department at the moment.
And then obviously the IIHF has sort of this big role in the world to sort of help with the growth of hockey. And we sort of talked about it a little earlier today about how trends have been looking in the United States a little bit, but how has the IIHF contributed both on both sides of your guys' department to the global growth of ice hockey in the recent years?
So if we just check the statistics and data, so actually our members have been able to grow. But we are usually once a year we are asking our federation about how many members they have. So that's the data that we are checking out. So basically how many players they have in the programs in different age groups, and that's a positive thing that we are able to grow a bit. So again, it's better than going in decrease. So that I think that's a good signal that our countries they understand that of course you need to recruit to make sure that everybody has a chance who wants to try hockey, that there's a chance to try it. And then they are able to retain the players. So they're able to keep them involved. So not in a way that the system cuts the players out. So I think that those are two main things. And again, if everybody's able to retain and keep one player involved with the game from every age group, so then it would be big growth in the future. So I think that those are the great things. Last two years we are putting a lot of effort to make sure that countries have the learn to play program. So we call our base program as a learn to play. So we are putting our effort to educate people on those and running those clinics. So instead of doing something else, we have to think about, okay, that might be the smartest way to use our resources to focus on learn to play. So whenever the players are coming for the first time in ice hockey, they should get a great experience. And again, it was a month ago issue when we were doing the last program in Brazil. So actually we brought the whole American continent together, and also New Zealand and Australia came over there. So we educated our people from the federations who overseas learn to play. And then in the second half of the week, so 3 days, we were working with the local coaches in Sao Paulo. And those people were running. So kind of like combining, so educating together with different countries and then focusing on local coaches. So I think that's something that shows that our countries understand also that need.
Yeah, I think from our side, it's really to structure our competition side in a manner that offers venues for both showcase their best. To showcase their best and give the players an opportunity to also play in a structure that makes sense for both development and growth in their particular sort of neck of the woods.
And then obviously, I know hockey's a pretty expensive sport around the world, and in some cases, it's harder for players to stay in the sport for a long time. So, what are sort of the biggest challenges in developing hockey programs in emerging markets at the moment?
Yeah, I think as you said it, hockey is because you create the ice and then you travel, depends on the country how much you travel, that those are the biggest cost usually. And not too many countries have the system where community or a city or country provides the ice time. So that's usually the case. And again, that I think the one thing on those countries when you have only one or two ice sheets of ice is to make sure that you use that ice well enough. Instead of having only 15 skaters on the ice, if you have the Olympic size rink or North American size rink, you can put 50 kids on the ice to practice and play. So make sure that you have enough people on the ice. So it's not, so you shouldn't think about too much how the pros are doing, having 20 skaters and two goalies on the ice. But again, think about, well, how do you do it the most possible, best way of running your practice or running the game, and making sure that everybody gets good experiences. And then again, one thing, how do you sell your product in a community? Because I think now today's trend is that if you're doing a good job for it with youth and doing the right thing with good values, you're able to make it's easier to get some sponsors, to support your program. So I think those are the aspects of the game.
And I know, Kim, you said that on the game side, you guys sort of plan these events. Are there any current plans that you can share that where maybe there's a tournament being held in a developing country at the moment?
I mean, from the top of my head, I don't know, but we are playing soon 23B, I think, in Bangkok, Thailand. We just played in Brazil, as Kalle said, with our new product, Small Ice 3-on-3. We plan to come back to South America in the spring with another 3-on-3 small ice event in Argentina. December to January is really the month of World Juniors, or as we call them, and World Women's 18. So there we go from, we play in Ottawa, as you're most likely aware, to down to Bangkok on the 20th. And we have our top event for World Women's 18 is in Finland this year, and I think we reached down to Division 3 this year, which is, as I remember, in Croatia, with 4 new nations there on the World Women's 18 side. So it's truly a global sport, which is to some extent also the challenge in, as Kalle said, there's a challenge to equip people at the equipment price, but we also have a lot of traveling going on because we are geographically very, very spread out.
And then, how does the work that you guys have at the IIHF, has there been the work that you guys have in your guys' position? How has that helped sort of the IIHF improve the accessibility and popularity of ice hockey around the world?
I guess the popularity comes down that people see and understand the reason why you should bring your kid to play. I think again to make sure that it's training is age appropriate. People who are surrounding with the programs are educated, so they know what they should do, what kind of environment should be for the under 8s or under 10s or under 12. We have been working with our integrity program again last year, so again making sure that our people who are part of the game, they know what is their role and what are their responsibilities. So they just don't think that they know that, making sure that they also know. Of course, you have smaller countries, bigger countries, of course, making sure that everybody has the same information inside the countries. It's a challenge, but at least that's the part of, or the way that we are going. So making sure that every country gets the same information. So, and again, and they have a chance to access for the everything what we have. So there's no secrets in the way.
And then, how does the IIHF sort of support the youth hockey and grassroots initiatives worldwide with the game?
So basically, as I explained about the Learn to Play, so that's our base program, so that's the grassroots program. So we have been running these clinics, so making sure that actually now we just finished the Sao Paulo, so we went all the continents through, so we had 2 clinics in Asia, dividing Asia in 2, then we did 1 in Europe and Africa, and then 1 in America, so educating people who overseas Learn to Play at home. So we educate them, and it's not just that what to do on the ice, it's a lot of other things too, so making sure what is age appropriate training, how can you run recruitment campaigns and these kind of things. So making sure that again that our countries have the knowledge that and understanding that you should put all the effort, or making sure that the foundation is growing. as a New Zealand, not the biggest hockey country, but they have been putting a lot of effort for growing the numbers, and they are able to grow the whole time because they're able to get more and more kids to try hockey and stay involved with the game. Whereas not just trying to recruit the adult senior players who just quit playing and make sure that they play in the rec hockey. But that's also important. But again, that putting effort, building the base, so then in the future you might have more players to choose to your national team, and then it comes to our events.
Yeah, and again on the competition side, I guess for us it's a matter together with development to structure our sort of array of tournaments that we don't set up any of our M&As to play at a level where it would discourage them to return to play. I mean, there's not much growth or learning in joining a division or a competition where you every day or every game you lose with 30 plus goals. So we're working or thinking a lot of the structure on how we structure this best, that we match our M&As in a structure that encourages them to of course improve over time, but also that we don't expect New Zealand to play against Canada and then actually think that's a fun experience, losing with 40, 50 goals. So I think that's one of the big challenges that we have for both sport and development, but structural wise for sport, is that we find the structure, that we find the venues where our M&As feel that they can participate in a good and productive manner.
And then I know, Kalle, you were mentioning the Learn to Play as a big initiative that the IHF has launched. Are there any other specific programs that are aimed at making hockey more exclusive or inclusive to underrepresented groups?
So not precise, but I think one program that making sure that everybody understands that the hockey is for everybody is our integrity program. So basically, where we go in different pillars with our federations. So that's kind of like also spreading the knowledge of the integrity, but no special programs for different people, because again that we have our championship structure and then federations. So, but everything that we do it that it's always for everyone when we are communicating. So our job is not to exclude anybody. So it comes from that angle. So when we are communicating, so it shouldn't exclude anybody. So that's, but not that kind of like specific programs that hey, this program is for this group and this program is for this group. So it's always everyone involved.
And then I know recently here in the United States, we finally got our own league for women's hockey in the PWHL. I know in Europe, the SDHL has been around for a while, and the Finnish league has been around for a while. So are there any steps the IHF is taking to promote the growth of women's hockey globally?
I think the IHF has over the last many years invested a great deal of funds in women's hockey development, both on the development side, but also on the top level side. We are having a lot of women's hockey, both recruitment, retention, education activities. We feature, I think, every 2 or 3 years this high performance camp. We're trying to make and succeeding, I think, in making the World Women's Championship much more competitive than it's been prior. Also on club sides, STHL is of course the prime example of a league that is traveling very fast towards professional atmosphere and professional situation for the athletes. Latest, we've started focusing also on leadership in women's hockey, both on the coaching side and the player side. And our women's manager is working hard for that exact reason. And you can say it's one of the areas in the IHF that has an independent or its own manager. We have the sport department and the development department, but there's no how to say male hockey manager. There's a women's hockey manager because it's a focus area for IHF, both on sport and development.
And then if Kalle, if you guys have, do you guys have any milestones, key milestones, or even success stories about the women's hockey development that you're particularly proud of?
We just had a chat today, our women's hockey manager, about and asked about those milestones, and because she has been working longer in IHF than we have together, going through, and she for her it was also hard to say a year or a couple of the milestone years. But again, as Kim said, there has been a lot doing. So I think high performance camp, I don't know when was it launched, about 10, 12 years ago for the first time. So something new. And again, on the boys or the men's side, we don't have the high performance camp. And again, if you are checking out the numbers from the female participants, so 2017 has been growing the whole time. Whereas the boys and men's side have been a bit more. It has been either to stay the same or going a bit down or up. But the women's and girls side has been growing the whole time. And again, that 2 years ago there's a women's summit, something that bringing, I don't know, we had about 100 female leaders together, talking about ice hockey and having a 3 days summit with women specific topics and different events. I think was it 2003 women's campaign. We had it Inspiring Next. That was a big promotional campaign, and I think that did a lot of good things for women's hockey. And of course, every year we do Global Girls Game and World Girls Ice Hockey Weekend to recruit and promote girls games. So there's a lot of different things going yearly.
Yeah, and again, for me, one of the biggest successes is I think the development of or the lessening of the disparity in the top event. I think we saw in Utica again, Canada and US, of course, are still the big sisters in the family, but I think we see immense improvement from the Czechs, from the Swedes again, the Finns. And maybe at just a level lower, you have China, you have Germany, you have Japan. It's getting to be a really good competition. I feel that you go down a division and go to Division 1A. It's also extremely competitive games that are being played. And I think also how we present the sport of women's hockey. I think the tournament that we played in Shenzhen in China was maybe a new milestone in production quality for a World Women's 1A tournament, huge arena, a lot of spectators. I think women's hockey is a growing game, and that for me is a milestone in itself.
And then, obviously, Kim, you work on the game side. So, how do the major tournaments like the IIHF World Championship or the World Juniors, how does that impact the development of hockey worldwide?
I think it's a little bit multifaceted. Of course, if we play the World Championship, we take the best players that we can get and put them together in a tournament. Is definitely an inspirational. It's an inspirational value for hockey globally. Last World Championship in Czechia was so many spectators, so many sold out games, atmosphere in and around the arena. I think that will last in not only in Czechia but for a lot of our M&As experiencing that, our players experiencing that. It's that is one facet of hosting a world championship. That goes also to Division 2B, where you host maybe in Thailand, and it's a big thing for hockey in Thailand and for the countries around that they go to the world championship. They play a lot of attention. It inspires youth to have something to dream about and to have as a goal for their own career. And I think then there is the legacy. Of course, we talk about legacy, but legacy for a world championship host at the top level is one thing is the experience, but it's also, to be honest, it's money. You have money to put in your development for the next 5-10 years now in Czechia, which will keep them on the edge of our game for the next year, and next year we go to Sweden and Denmark, who will also make money. Luckily, our top events are creating funds, beside being inspirational. So I think that is really what a World Championship does in each of its different levels, starting of course with our top events, but there's so much to gain from hosting a World Championship on the player side, but also on our staff side, the staff in Thailand, the togetherness that you have about hosting a tournament, that you pull in extra new people maybe that's never been into hockey before, and that they can be used as volunteers going forward. So that's how I see World Championship on the different.
And I think, when we get a new host and they do a good job, so the people who are living on the country might get actually attention about that. Hey, ice hockey, maybe they haven't ever heard about it, they're able to see it, so they get access to see the game. So I think that's again promoting the game locally and making sure that people knows what is ice hockey. as you mentioned, that we got just 2 new members, Bahrain and Kenya. So I never been in those countries, but I would say the majority of the people who live there, they don't know about what is ice hockey all about. But again, if they someday will host it, so then people are able to see the game.
And then Kim, if you can sort of, I don't know how much you sort of plan with the events department, but can you share any of the behind the scene insights on how the IHF events, like the World Championship or even the World Juniors, are organized to benefit both the players and fans?
Yeah, I can say that the way that the IHF is structured is really that the hosting itself is a majority organizer thing. The World Juniors now is hosted by Hockey Canada and their event department, and we are really just there not to oversee, but we are there to support and control that we are delivering what we're supposed to deliver. So it's really a circle of life for our big events. Is we finish one and then basically the next one starts, or it's a loop over for more years than one. So we've been working now since we were in Czechia. We started work a year before Czechia with Sweden and Denmark, and we're already working with Switzerland 26 and actually also with Germany 27. So that is sort of, we ensure that the knowledge is transferred from one event to another. We ensure that we keep the standard that we want to have from our different departments, from our different stakeholders. That's really the job of the IHF. And then, of course, when we get there and when we go to Ottawa now, that we make sure also that the circus is playing for the 12 days that we are there.
And then, what role does sustainability play in the IHF's development projects and tournaments?
I can talk about the project, and Kim can mention about the tournaments. Basically, when we are planning that we do something, a project or program or education, we are going in the way that we teach our federation to that we are able to educate you, so it would be a sustainable way of staying. The knowledge would stay in the country, not like IHF would always come year by year to educate your coaches. It's about educating people inside the federation so they have the knowledge. It might take longer time, but we see that it's a more permanent way of making sure that the programs are running in the country, because we cannot be there in one country every day or every week. But those people who are running the programs, they are there. So basically, you think about that. How do we bring people together, and then how do we make sure that they have the knowledge of running the program? So think about that sustainability from that angle. It's a long lasting inside the country, because it would be maybe easier and faster for us that we would go and educate all the coaches, do it year by year. But again, as we know, coaches are changing. So the regular coach stays involved with the games for X amount of years, and new people are coming in. So again, that our job is not to educate every coach. Our job is to educate people who educate coaches at home. So that's kind of like sustainable way. And whenever we provide funding for our federation to run the project, the one part is sustainable way. So if we give the seed money for it to build something up, there should be a way that they're able to then do it by themselves at the end. So having like sustainability, so we don't put always same amount of money for the same similar project for same country. So then it's not sustainable way. So basically, again, we are able to help them out to launch it, and then they should be able to run it at the end.
Yeah, and on the tournament side, it sounds a little bit silly maybe, but we know that hockey is not always the most sustainable sport in regards to us having to play on artificial ice. So we look a lot on our hosts and expect them to come up with sustainability ideas when we host. Sustainability for us is also, as I talked or told earlier, is to look at how long do we travel to play our events. So we're looking at restructuring maybe some of our events in a more regional manner. And finally, I guess we are also not that it's going to happen tomorrow, but we're also looking a lot into artificial ice. What is the possibilities of artificial or plastic ice, if we can call it that? Where can we use it? Can we use it to maybe do all year? Is there some markets where we would say, hey, we know that you take the ice off April, May, but maybe we put up plastic ice or from May to July, so that we have venues where we can practice over the summer. Technology is running really, really quickly now, and traditionalist attitude is of course to say ice hockey is played on ice, and I get that, but that doesn't mean that we should not be looking at where we can improve also on the sustainability side.
And then Cam, you just mentioned technology and how that's helping sort of on the sustainability side. And I know when COVID came around, we sort of had those distances we had to keep from people and everything. So how is the IIHF leveraging technology to enhance the training performance and the fan engagement?
I think for the fan engagement, that's a very complex question that maybe belongs a little bit better in our marketing and communication department. I know that they're working a lot on all kinds of stuff. Technology-wise, sport-wise, we are utilizing a lot of different technologies, and sometimes you ask yourself, is it a little bit too much, or everything with video review with AI that you can do. You can almost play the game without players. At some point, and I think that one of the things that we are trying to do from the sports side, anyways, is to find the right balance in where do we utilize technology, where do we live with the human factor, and where do we want to put in technology, because it can get, for me anyways, it can get a little bit too clinical also, that everything has to be checked, rechecked, and double checked. I think we want, of course, the right decisions to be made. We want to do the right things, but we also want the spontaneous joy of scoring a goal that does not necessarily is delayed by 4 minutes of review of everything possible before a goal is scored. So I think for me, from a sports side, that is the big challenge with technology at the moment, is to find this balance. Is where do we use it, and where do we say we don't use it? We are playing hockey. Hockey is a game of emotions, and we want to keep that.
And then for both of you, Kalle and Kim, I just sort of do have this question. So what inspired you guys to pursue a career in sports and in the and in the sports department and in the development department, and how did you come to work within the IIHF?
So my work history comes from Finnish Ice Hockey Federation. So I was working there 13 years, overseeing our youth programs over there and running our regional coaches team. So that our job was actually think about and execute the player development, club development, coach development in the clubs. So that's what I was doing last 13 years before coming to work in the International Ice Hockey Federation. So I've been basically working in the like a sport development area, like where do we think that, how to set up the best environment in the club. Again, every single player, most likely, and every single coach, they're working in the club level. So if the club wants to be successful, the environment needs to be successful. So basically, I've been working on that area a lot, and then 13 years with one organization, now having a chance to see the international and do it at the international level with the different cultures. So that's a good new challenge for me. So I really appreciate this opportunity to work with IIHF and got this chance to do it.
Sure, but the same for me. I come from originally from hockey family, but my background is in officiating. Been an official for a lot of years in the Danish leagues, and then was hired by the Danish Federation. Spent 22 years there, and as the GM of the national teams and the commissioner of the league, and 1.5 years ago I got the offer to join the IIHF as a sport director, and for me, I kind of felt also that I tried everything pretty much with my M&A, and very, very appreciate to have the chance to work really in the inner chambers of the world governing body to color what sport development on an international stage. And I've been now with the IIHF for I think 16, 17 months. It's been really, really exciting every day, and I look forward a lot to for the years to come.
And then what has been the most rewarding aspect of your work with the IHF so far?
I have to say the people and different cultures. Getting 84 members, so you have 84 different cultures and then 80 different culture for the people. So working with those people, I think that has been the best thing from my side. So kind of like every situation is so unique and every person is so unique. So that has been the best rewarding aspect from last 2.5 years.
Yeah, I agree with Kalle. It's a boring answer. It's much the same. It is really the people that we work with. It's been for me. It's been very rewarding to experience some of my colleagues around the world now in a from a different chair, from a different role. But just to see really the family feeling that there is around our membership from big to small. That's extremely rewarding for me as well.
And then what advice would you give to young athletes or aspiring professionals that are looking to sort of make an impact in the world of hockey?
That's a good question. I guess I think for the young athletes, make sure that understand that everyone is potential. So kind of like if you have your dreams, so follow your dreams. So don't give up on your dreams. I think that would be the number one thing to say. I was fascinating study with Swedish Ice Hockey Federation. They were studying their ex-NHL players. What is the common thing? And the common thing for those NHL players from Sweden is that nobody quit playing. So different pathways to follow your dreams and succeeding your goals. So there's no only one way. So basically follow your dreams and make understanding that everybody has potential and hopefully everybody's able to reach their full potential. So and then from the coaching perspective and club leaders perspective, making sure that everybody is able to full their full potential or reach their full potential. So you should be able to make sure that you're able to retain the players and make sure that everybody is involved. So if reason for other, if you need to cut somebody, make sure that she or he stays involved with the game. So hopefully the system doesn't cut anybody out. So hopefully the system will be built in a way that it's wide enough. And if you want to play, you should be able to. You should have a chance to play.
Yeah, and to add to that, I would say that keep dreaming, and maybe sometimes your dreams they don't pan out, but then maybe adjust your dreams a little bit because there's a space for you somewhere else in our sport. And maybe you can't make it as a player, but you didn't make it all the way to the top. But maybe there's a chance that you can make it all the way to the top as an official. Make it all the way to the top as a team manager or a coach or anything. It's really a giving sport, and a lot of sports will say that. But you have a chance here. We are in a pretty unique, very complex sport, and there is a space for everyone. I think in some role. Yeah, if I don't know what Kalle, but if someone had told me 35 years ago that I would end up sitting in Zurich as the IIHF sport director, I probably would have ran away laughing. But for me, I can honestly say I think I'm living the dream in my job at the moment, and yeah, there's space for everyone at some level of our sport.
And then since both of you guys are in the sports, or since you guys are in two different departments, with the sports and the development department. What is your guys' vision for the future of hockey over the next decade? And are there any exciting initiative or projects on the horizon that you can share?
I think for me, I think that Kalle will probably say the some of the same. It's one of the most exciting things that we are working with right now is this our new discipline of small ice 3-on-3 hockey that can really develop over the next decade. I think into a totally new form of how you play our sport. It's going to be hard work, but I think there's a chance that we can truly make something. And you can say it's not unique. Basket has 3-on-3 as well. Rugby has rugby 7, etc., etc. But it's a little bit the trend is to try to make, can we say, maybe sometimes a little bit complicated sport with a little bit complicated rules into something more simple that can then reach out and hit an audience that would not normally be interested in hockey. I think what we've seen till now for our small ice new product, new discipline, I think it's quite promising actually, and I see it as both interesting top level product, but also as a really good possibility to develop our M&As who maybe not have the same hockey tradition as big nations.
Yeah, I guess that will be actually interesting to see how is the sport in next decade. What are the trends that actually leads over there? It's the technology about AI. Okay, calling it, was it the offside or not? Is the technology going that way or other way? Are we able to see more artificial ice or plastic ice rings in the future for practice purposes? It will be interesting how that technology goes forward. How the 3-on-3, would that be a solution for our smaller countries to make sure that you have a smaller size rink? You don't need to build as size rink as we know at the moment with the smaller spectators, make sure that everybody's able to play. Maybe it's less cost over there. So that's something that is really interesting to see, like, what is driving in the future. And then I just hope that we make sure that everybody is able to get the access.
And then Kim, this new 3-on-3, this could be coming to the Olympics, correct? At one point.
That's the goal, anyways. That it does reach the Olympics. We're working hard to see if we can get it into 2030, and if not there, then 2034 in the States. IOC is positive. Our hosts are positive, but there's of course a lot of work to take a sport that doesn't really exist at the moment into an Olympic Games. So our 3-on-3 manager is working really hard on that. We are supporting him where we can, and it would be exciting to see a new team ice sport in the Olympics for me. There's not a lot, and I think with the number of athletes and we have in hockey, we could do with another discipline.
And then, Kalle and Kim, if you could sort of just leave our listeners with one key takeaway about the IIHF's role in the hockey development, what would it be?
What would be the key takeaway? I guess one thing is that somebody is using the metaphor that our job is to, from development side, teach people how to fish so they're able to fish at home, or teaching people how to stand with their own feet. They won't fall down if they're leaning towards to us. So I think that's a takeaway. So make sure it's a sustainable way and people learn how to use the tools and how to build and update their program. So I think that would be from my side as a key takeaway.
Yeah, for me as well, some of the same. Provide accessibility, provide level playing field, make sure that our sport is governed in a way that creates a good, sportive, safe atmosphere for our athletes and our young athletes to come and enjoy playing the best sport in the world.
And Kalle and Kim, I do want to thank you guys for coming onto the podcast today. Obviously, you guys have given a very good sort of vision of what the IIHF does for the world to all of our listeners. So I do want to thank you guys for being on the podcast. I want to say I can't wait to be at my first World Championship in a few years. We'll see. Waiting to see which one I want to go to. I've been picking and choosing, and I don't know. I'm looking at a few, so we'll see when that happens.
Yeah, thanks, Patrick. Yeah, if you're in the States, so now in April we'll be in Texas, Frisco under 18s for the men's, and then a year later World Juniors will be in Minnesota. So at least those are a couple of events are close by.
I did almost, because I go to Detroit, and that's where USA Hockey has their own rink, and I've been going to the World Junior Showcase forever, but I was like, oh man, maybe I should go to Windsor this time. I was like, oh wait, there's nothing there, man.